Well, welcome to a new Harry's Garage video, and today's car is the Ferrari 296 GTS, the Spider version of the regular 296. And I look back and it's nearly 3 years since I last had the 296 in here in GTB form, and that had the Ferrari pack on it. I think it's called the suspension pack. It was very much track focused version of it, and I've been keen to get a 296 back in because I want to try just a sort of regular road going version, and this does not have the Ferrari pack. It has an awful lot of other things on it which we'll run through as we look round it. But just to give you a little taster, the price of this car including extras, £392,496, so nearly £400,000 worth of V6 Ferrari. How did we get here? Well, let's go and have a closer look. From the front, I can't go over the sort of width of it and how low this bonnet line sits, the big screen, and you sort of see the wings, just the tips of them when you're behind the driver's seats. And then the front, the management of the aero, and it has this peculiar little spoiler down here. And I know it has the radar and the cameras, that's what all that is. And it has a number plate that is really keen to fall off. Oh, I just wish we had the small number plate like you get in Italy, but that looks a bit of a lump and not very stable. But it has other aero, it has the carbon front spoiler on here, there's little tiny lights on it and keep coming round, and you'll see 20-inch wheels on it, diamond cut in this case, obviously the CCM brakes, enormous calipers, but with 830 horsepower, the speed of things develops, it needs some very good brakes on it. Shields on this example, £1,200 sir, if you want those. And then we did that 12-cylinder Spider, and this one felt just a bit more open when I first drove it. You can see the sort of space above you, really like the feel of it. But one thing to mention, we are right up against the bulkhead. Mrs M's seating position and mine right up against the bulkhead, so it is a bit tight in the cabin again. And interestingly, the wheelbase on this 296 is 50mm less than it was on the F8 Tributo and previous versions of Ferrari mid-engine cars. Another thing I wanted to mention to you just while we're here, and that's this door. It is extremely fat, this door, and when you open it and it goes to the first stage, like you're parked next to something or in a garage, it is very tricky to get in and out of this car. It's extremely tight because the sill's big as well, but it's really the thickness of this door. If you look from there to there, a really thick door. And yeah, I've got the McLaren, obviously that's got the dihedral doors, and that helps getting in and out, I think. Obviously I've got the roof folded on this car. I think it looks very elegant with that hoop. Again, the width of it, look at it, it's huge. It's not actually, I checked the measurements and it is not any wider particularly than previous version. It just looks it, I think, from the styling. Single exit exhaust here, a hugely expensive carbon rear diffuser. Yeah, a £7,838 worth of rear diffuser for you, sir. But the special thing about the 296 is the V6 engine that hides under here, and it doesn't have a little gas strut. I have to do it with this, put that there. Now I know it's a bit of a black hole in there, but all I wanted to show you really is the V6 is a 120-degree angle, so really wide, and it's a hot V, so there are two turbos sitting at the top there, and that's why they're all covered up, and then the catalyst, etc. here, and this is super hot craziness when it's running. And it's so low though, it is incredibly low how they've nestled that engine as low as they can. Batteries on the bulkhead as well apparently. The motor is in the gearbox. These are what these direct current, when you see orange, that's danger if you touch it and you're not going to be very well. And you can just see a red of a cam cover deep down there. It's not, looking at Ferrari engines, it is not like it used to be when they all used to be on show under a glass window. Quick look at the fronts as well, and there is a degree of practicality on this car. Opening up, that is not a bad space really, considering how extreme this car is. A big hole, and you get this obviously an extra pack in here, and that is the plug-in charger for this car, because obviously you can charge the battery. If you're going to park it up for any time, you have to put that in, otherwise the battery will not cope. But that is a big space. You could use this very practically, and you can see the list of options on there. I'm going to put up on the video now all the numbers, all the extras on this car. How do you get to that extraordinary number of 392,000 from a list price of 279,000? And I ought to mention the paint, and that's Gallo Triple Strato is this colour, and that is a remarkable extra £23,976 because it's triple layer paint. Anyway, let's take it outside, take it for a drive. Yeah, you're met by 296 GTS across the dash wheel, comes towards you. Yeah, I've put the roof on because it's blowing a gale out there, and you wouldn't hear me for all the trees going nuts outside, but really like the layout in here. You just get in, it just feels modern and fresh. And there's lots of carbon, I know, on this particular one, being a press car. And yeah, space. As I mentioned in the garage, the seats are right up against the bulkhead, but there is actually space here where you can put things, which is good. Don't know what's in there. What's in there? All little connectors, USB-C. There's space in the doors. There is a glove box, believe it or not, in there, and there's a screen for the passenger there. But to sort of energise things, I press that once, up it comes, it all whirls into life. You can see a little dance on the dash. Okay. Right, so you think the rev counter, we're all ready to go. You need to press it again, and you get that strange sound. And now it's ready to go, it's all lit up. Now I need to sort out the ADAS stuff. Oh, I all respect the highway, yes, I'll do that. And it's a bit of a performance, but you've got to do it before you set off, because you just can't do it without looking at the dash, as I'm doing now, and concentrating. And yeah, if you try and do this on the move, you just can't do it. So I go to ADAS, I go up, and I go along. I want to press that, and I want to put it into custom. Oh, come on. Just go to custom. Are you custom? Yes, I'm okay with that. And I'm okay with that, yeah. And I've turned everything off. And I go back to house. Yeah, I go back. Oh. Yeah, here we go. Please just work. In progress. Oh, for God's sake. I'll go back to house. Go back again. I'll go up to vehicle. There, and I got tires up. I can't believe it. On my Range Rover, there's a button on the wheel, bing bing, I go to custom once or off, just a piece of cake. On this car, not so. But I'm now ready to go. So yeah, I've got everything, I've got status there. I love the vents on it. You've got gear change down here, there's reverse, auto and manual and launch control. And yeah, I think that's all. Oh, there's wireless charging down there as well. It's all, I don't know, it feels modern and good. I just like the look of it. I'm surprised there isn't a glass roof option, and yeah, looking out the rear screen, I can lower the rear screen as well if I want to get extra sound. So you won't believe it, but I can just put a paddle now and I go, because of course it's hybrid and it sets off. Well, it sets off in hybrid, I haven't touched it, but it's basically on electric whenever it can in hybrid mode. So there you go, there's a little look through the cabin. We'll head out, go find some better roads. Also, I ought to say on the wheel, I have the Manatino here, and I can choose what I want on here. I can have hybrid there, I can have eDrive, or I can do what they term performance, and that's your sort of normal setting. You can hear the engine running at the moment as well. On this side I have sport, and I have race, and I have CT off, and I just really like the way if I do press the Manettino in the middle, I've got the bumpy road option in all of them. So if I press that, I get a softer damper setting, and that's a really good idea. Big mirrors as well. Right, on the wheel indicator, let's go. Oh. And there we go. See, where do you start? Wonderful, wonderful V6 sound, and I don't care. It's piped in. It's not done by the speakers. This is engine sound. They've been incredibly clever, and it hits you. I think it sounds better than the previous V8. Sounds better than the SF90. It is a glorious howl from the moment. You don't have to rev it out to 8,500 RPM just as soon as you get in. Glorious. Other things, super sharp steering, not very good lock to lock actually. The turn circle is a bit big, and you can sort of hear a little bit of drone, but I measured it on my noisy bit of road and it went 77 decibels, so it didn't actually pick it up. I think it's because it just goes up the gears and gets into 8th and you're just on a cruise, and what you hear, it seems to be tyre noise to me. I've put it now down to hybrid, and I've drifted through Burford on electric. And I can see I have full blobs and 6 miles of range. Yeah, the most I've seen is 10 miles of range, so you don't get to go very far on electric, but it's just sort of handy, but you have got to manage it. I was pre-warned to not park it overnight with less than 3 blobs on the actual battery indicator, because it gets a bit upset. And I've heard from friends with SF90s and things, if you do let the battery go down, park it overnight, your car doesn't work in the morning. Ferrari assist have to come out. I am going to put it up to performance, I think, for the squirt up the hill. Here we are. I'm still in auto. I'm doing 25 miles an hour, and I've got a Lotus Elise behind me. That's nice. Right, here we go. Oh. Interesting, because I had it in performance, it didn't kick down to second, it used third, but God, some wallop take you up the hill. The performance you don't get used to. It's shocking, truly shocking. Forget the V6 and what your mind says a V6 should perform like. It's otherworldly, it is monstrously fast. 830 horsepower combined, but it's the electric punch. It just energizes as soon as you touch the throttle. I went out in my McLaren, and that has a much sort of more gentle sort of feel to it, because you wake the turbos up first. On this, with that electric down below, poof, you're off. And it just keeps on building, and then there's this howl. You just imagine the boost pressure, because the 3-litre engine is rated at 663 horsepower. Incredible, but it must have super high boost pressures, but you don't know because the electric infill. And yeah, 7.6 seconds, I think, 0 to 200 kilometers an hour, obscenely fast, and especially so with the 2-wheel drives, because it doesn't launch off the line as a 4-wheel drive might. Mighty impressive. And even more impressive when you find out what it weighs. They claim 1540 kilos. I put it on my weighbridge, and it's a lot more than that in reality. It went 1740 kilos, which I have to say came as a big surprise. That makes it about 100 kilos heavier than an F8 Tributo Spider, something like that. So yeah, it has put some weight on by going hybrid, but there's enough firepower to make you not notice as much as you think you should. Right, let's try it down here. It's quite low geared as well. I mean, usefully, I'm into second round here. Yeah, I've got bumpy mode in stores. I put that out, I go on to normal. What's it like down here? So it's testing bit of road. Yeah, it's just a little bit of shake from it. One thing I'm surprised at actually is, I just put the bumpy road status back in. There's a little bit of shake in this car. you do notice there's just the shimmer from the roof with it like this, and just through the wheel there is structural, you just notice it's a Spider, not a coupe. But overall, ride really good for such an extreme machine, and with the bumpy road section, hats off that it is an extremely usable device. It doesn't have any sort of GT3 genes in it. Happy to use it every day as if you would, but yeah, really good on that front. I suppose the thing is, it's not a huge amount of feel through the wheel ring, and it's light, but God, it's sharp. Just either side of off centre, wow, it just darts in whichever direction, and it's not super aggressive tyres. It's not running Cup 2 type tyres or anything like that. They're just regular. I think they're 4S's. I need to check. The other thing I love on it are the carbon paddles, fixed paddles on here, just right, and there's a real purposeful feel to them as you frick through gears. And listen to how quick that, I can put it up to qualifying, yeah, and if the gear change even quicker. Unbelievable. No one does it better than Ferrari in my view. Now let's try it through here. Oh, that engine. I know I keep saying it. Around it, but just is. And I love the lights, the change lights on the wheel. No one does it better as well. I've got head-up display around there. I can't push it, otherwise I'll be so illegal. But wow, just wow. Even though through there I'm at 7,000 RPM, just lovely. Right, time to do some likes and dislikes. Oh, I've had a battle in my head with this one. But I have to mention the interface here as the #1 dislike, because it dominates, I find, my experience of this car. You get in it and you have to cancel that ADAS. It has no place in a Ferrari. It is an utter nonsense lane assist on a bloody Ferrari, £400,000. It just should not be on these limited run toy cars, in my view. Speed aware, okay, but it's such a shame, and having this horrible interface makes it even worse. It infuriates me, and I found that when I park up, I'm not actually turning the car off, otherwise I have to go right through it all over again. So as you can tell, #1 dislike, and a huge one. 2, I wish it wasn't quite so heavy. You know, they use aluminium, they've shortened the wheelbase, they've gone to a V6, they all shout about the lightness. It's only a 7.5 kilowatt battery in it, 1740 kilos, for goodness sake, what are you doing, Ferrari? You were known for lightweight. I want, you know, the lightness, that's what makes the performance, but that's too much on the chunky side. And I think it's 300 kilos heavier than the 750S, something like that. 3, you've got to manage the battery. I don't expect to have to manage the battery in that way. In no other hybrid do I have to make sure I've got battery in a hybrid, otherwise my car won't work in the morning. Don't understand that at all. 4, expensive, bloody expensive. I'm getting to my corners, I'm going to change the lights, because the lights are a long list as well. Do not dismiss this car because it's a V6. It is wonderful, a glorious powertrain, Ferrari at its best. Oh. So exciting, 1,000 times more excited than that McLaren Artura that I had in. It doesn't compare, it might as well be on a different planet. Dash, ambience, everything about it, way more exciting than the McLaren. 2, I think it looks just lovely. It just has a wow factor around it. It's elegant, it looks so modern, and it's just accessible. The brake feel is fine. Trick electric brakes, don't know it at all from where I'm sitting, so I love that about it as well. And then performance, off the frigging scale performance. I have to say it as a like, but you don't expect your junior V6 Ferrari to perform like this one does. But it's eye-boggling how quick this car is, and you never get used to it. Every time you get into it, you think, bloody hell. that's quick. Now the tough bit with this car is when I get to the bit, would I buy one? Because I'd really like to, but I wouldn't, unfortunately, at the moment. And I feel for Ferrari on this one, because this is a stunning, stunning car. But I think they've jumped to turbos early. I know they jumped to turbos early, and it was because of McLaren. I had a private conversation with a Ferrari, the CEO of Ferrari, and he told me they jumped too early. They should have carried on with normally aspirated. They've carried on with normally aspirated V12 at the top, and it's been super successful for them. But they have ended up in this V6 twin turbo hybrid Junior 296. And it matches their race cars, there's the positive, but as an owner, do I want this complication? I want everything about this car apart from the complication. I don't want that interface. That is changing. They're going to buttons next generation, which is great. Roma has no hybrid. It's just gone out of production. I enjoy that. Portofino M, I couldn't believe how much I enjoyed that car. And this car, I want to enjoy it. Well, I do. I mean, its performance and its looks, but I'm battling the tech on it, and it's not really adding to my enjoyment to it. Apart from the noise and the sound of the V6. So the interface and the management of the battery is a reason I couldn't buy this car, and it seems as though I'm not alone. The market is for such a desirable car. I looked at the classifieds, I saw there was a Spider very similar to this, over £100,000 worth of extras on it, and available under 100,000 off its list price with extras at 700 miles old, about 10 months old. That's a tough pill to swallow for such a on paper, a desirable car. As I say, I'm battling because you can drive it and you think it's astonishing, and it is. I should have added tiny fuel tank on it, 65 litres. You used to get 86 litres on your 458, and this doesn't do very many mpg. You don't get 830 horsepower for nothing, and I tend to charge the battery by going into qualifying mode to charge the battery up, because it's a very slow charger if you try and do it on the mains. And you have to use qualifying mode more often than you would expect, because you've got to get those blobs up before you park it overnight. So yeah, what a car this is. It was way simpler reviewing Ferraris 10 years ago than it is now, because of this layer of tech they now have. They are glorious machines. It should be celebrated that they can create this and it works, and you don't hear problems with them, but you just got to manage it. But the performance, the feel, the brakes, the special factor of just ownership, off the frigging scale. But it wouldn't be the Ferrari I would buy. I would save up and pay that little bit extra for V12, or I would look at, wonder what the Roma replacement is going to be, or a Roma, or a Portofino, or something. 296, sorry, too complicated for me, doesn't add enough specialness for all the tech. So there you go, there's my slightly strange review of the 296 GTS. There's a great car hiding in here. Just imagine V6, much lighter, and I would be very happy in a slight, perhaps even make it 650 horsepower. Dare yourself to go down the horsepower race. Don't feel as though you have to continually battle. Where do you go from here? 830 is too much for this car, really. Astonishing as it is. But anyway, there you go. That's my review of the 296 GTS. A glorious car with a big butt. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, keep watching, keep subscribing. More videos coming on very soon. You're not going to get bored of that.